He put his face in a duck.
Okay. You may have noticed that there was no video last week because we were experiencing. Quit. You keep breaking the recording. You keep breaking the recording like a cat. I don't know what I already recorded. There was no video last week. We were experiencing the horrific depths of the 4-month sleep regression. I've been recording Linus's sleep patterns, or lack thereof, every nap, every night sleep from March 3rd and 4th. Jumpy. I had told you all in a different video that once I started the low-FODMAP diet, he started sleeping much better. Well, that, reached its height of greatness towards the middle or end of April. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 nights in a row where he only woke up one time. And then, it was sort of erratic waking up, usually 2 or 3 times a night. And then we hit a moment of insanity. He was just like up. I've heard about this, I read about this, I've seen videos about this. The 4-month sleep regression is, I don't know how much of this is accurate, but it's supposed to be when their sleep cycle goes from that of a new human into what the rest of us humans experience. It happens around 4 months, that instead of having 2 phases of sleep, they have 4 phases of sleep. The time that it takes to get into the phases changes, how deep your sleeping changes, relearn how to self-settle all over again. I could not deny that we were in this. I was like not even having it. I was like, we are not going to do this for 6 weeks. I'm not going to be up 4 to 5 times a night. I'm not going to do that for 6 weeks. Absolutely not. Now the past 3 nights, and we'll see what happens now. He's down for the night now. Been up 1 time a night. Last night he set a new record for the amount of time straight that he slept. It was 10.5 hours. I let him fuss in his bed. This was something I had started doing when he was about 2 months old. Now it's hard to remember that a lot of the time, so I'm not really good at that. That moment right in between the hysterics and the fussing, that's the moment I theoretically wait to get him out of his best net to feed him in the middle of the night. I would say it only happens about 25% of the time, because most of the time I'm like tired and groggy and I hear my baby fussing and my instinct is to take care of my fussing baby. The first times he started to sleep through the night, back in April, he was still waking me up usually with fussing, and I would just ignore it and he would go back to sleep. Last night, he didn't even wake me up with fussing. To stay sane while he was doing this, we didn't do a lot of extra. I wasn't mopping floors, making YouTube videos, carrying 20 pounds of groceries. He still went around to his activities. That's step 1. Don't stress yourself. Refuse to allow Linus to comfort feed or to nurse to sleep. A lot of people tell you, like, don't ever let your child nurse to sleep. Like, don't let them fall asleep on the boob as soon as they're, like, past the newborn phase, which I completely disagree with. People who are like, you shouldn't let them nurse to sleep because then you're going to have to break them of it later. You're going to have to break them of it then or later. So why not just wait till later when they have the skills they need to self-soothe? At this point, Linus does suck on his thumb or other fingers for comfort. He wasn't doing that when he was a month old. So now that he does have the tools to self-soothe, I made him use them. When he was upset but not hungry, he didn't get to eat. When he went down for a nap, he didn't get to eat. 2 to 3 days of really strictly enforcing these new life policies, he's been sleeping through the night. I was still feeding on demand. I'm not going to allow him to comfort feed. I can't really feed on demand anymore because then I can't tell when he's hungry versus when he needs a comfort feed. So now he's eating every 3 hours, with the exception of if he started to like actually cry. There's a big difference between a baby fussing and a baby crying. We sometimes get hungrier at different hours in the day. So if he's actually legitimately hungry, I'm not going to stick to that 3-hour If he's crying because he doesn't want to take a nap yet, I pat his belly, bounce him, or let him lie on the floor near me, or hold him, check if he needs a diaper change. I don't just leave him there crying indefinitely to get him to sleep. I do not believe in letting a baby cry it out. Can't imagine that Mary just left Jesus bawling his little head off, waiting for him to shut up. I don't believe that that is what the Blessed Virgin Mother did to the Lord and Savior of the universe. And I could be wrong, but I can't imagine letting my baby just shut down because he feels abandoned, which is actually what a lot of experts say happens. The baby doesn't necessarily go to sleep just because they've stopped crying. They can't rely on you as a food source anymore because they've been abandoned. So what do? You retain all the energy you can until you're found or rescued. Everyone has a different philosophy on it. You can write me hate comments if you think it's bad to cater to your child who can only communicate with you via crying when they cry. Then this guy, of course, starts getting me up before Linus even does. He just starts screaming that he wants his breakfast.
His hands are filthy.
I know, he was playing in the dirt.